Hello everyone, and welcome back to Bethy's Bible Bites. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we are going to be talking about Good Friday. What is Good Friday? It's the Friday right before Easter Sunday when we remember the sacrifice Jesus made on the cross. It wasn't pretty or nice. It was terrible and awful, but we still call it Good Friday. It's good because of the amazing thing that Jesus accomplished that day. He gave up his perfect, sinless life for us, and he paid that price to conquer sin and death. It's good because God's perfect plan that he had in place since the beginning was finished on that day. Even though this was the ugly part, it was very good. So with that in mind, let's read together what the Bible says about Jesus' crucifixion and death. We're going to read Mark 15, 21 through 39 out of the New Living Translation. A passerby named Simon, who was from Cyrene, was coming in from the countryside just then, and the soldiers forced him to carry Jesus' cross. Simon was the father of Alexander and Rufus. And they brought Jesus to a place called Golgotha, which means place of the skull. They offered him wine drugged with myrrh, but he refused it. Then the soldiers nailed him to the cross. They divided his clothes and threw dice to decide who would get each piece. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. A sign announced the charge against him. It read, "The King of the Jews." 2 revolutionaries were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. The people passing by shouted abuse, shaking their heads and mocking. "Hey, look at you now!" they yelled at him. "You said you were going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Well then, save yourself and come down from the cross." The leading priests and teachers of the religious law also mocked Jesus. "He saved others," they scoffed, "but he can't save himself. Let this Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross so we can see it and believe him." Even the men who were crucified with Jesus ridiculed him. At noon, darkness fell across the whole land until 3 o'clock. Then, at 3 o'clock, Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani?" which means, my God, why have you abandoned me?" Some of the bystanders misunderstood and thought he was calling for the prophet Elijah. One of them ran and filled a sponge with sour wine, holding it up to him on a reed stick so he could drink. "Wait," he said, "let's see whether Elijah comes to take him down." Then Jesus uttered another loud cry and breathed his last. And the curtain in the sanctuary of the temple was torn in two, from top to bottom. When the Roman officer who stood facing him saw how he had died, he exclaimed, "This man truly was the Son of God." So on Good Friday, Jesus, in love, willingly went to the cross to die. He could have freed himself at any time, but he had a bigger plan in mind. He was thinking about much more than his own comfort. He was up on the cross for 6 hours suffering for us. And when he died, something absolutely amazing happened. Darkness fell over the whole land. The earth shook, and the curtain in the temple, the one that separated sinful man from our perfect holy God, that curtain was ripped in two. That means that there was no longer anything separating God from his people. From that point on, when we receive what Jesus did for us, God totally washes away our sin to make us white as snow, and we are able to be in the presence of our holy God because of him. So today, with your parents' or teachers' help, we are going to remember this Good Friday by making a shining white cross to shine out in the darkness. And we will remember it is Good Friday because of God's forever love and his good plan. So to make this shining cross, all you're going to need is a piece of white paper, a white crayon, and some watercolor paints. And what you do is draw with the white crayon on the white paper across. And then you can watercolor paint over it, and the cross will be revealed. Use this opportunity with your kids to talk about the cross. Ask your children if they understand salvation, and share the gospel with them. And while this is a sad topic of discussion, remind your children that we remember not because this is the end. Good Friday would certainly not have been good if Jesus would have stayed dead. But that's not what happened. Jesus came back to life on the third day. That's why it's good.